I have to conclude there. The first session clearly has set the scene for the discussions today. It is clear that the timing of the debate on future of environmental policy is particularly accurate. I think the timing is now. And it, because of the launch of the SOR report next week, the assessment of the 6th EEP, and this will deliver a clear picture of where Europe stands today. And we got the message. Environmental policy delivers improvements, but we need to do more. So it is a clear call for a strong future environmental policy framework, but some speakers voluntarily avoided the discussion on the character, the form of this future environmental policy framework. We focus now on the challenges to be addressed. First of all, I think indeed it is important to have a consistent knowledge base for coherent policy making. Impact assessments have been raised several times, are an important tool, but how can we avoid the gap between this impact assessment process for new environmental policies and the realities of implementation on the ground? We have to find mechanisms to connect those that are dealing with implementation on the ground with the initial assessment process. Secondly, my conclusion would be that implementation is particularly difficult when there is lack of sufficient funding, when there is lack of coherence between the environmental teams, and when integration into other policies, has been discussed a lot, does not sufficiently take place, or when there are conflicting policies existing. Environmental regulations need to be based on environmental outcomes and need to be practical, less complex, but also enforceable. Resource efficiency, but in its broad sense, is definitely a useful integrating concept for managing environmental priorities. But still, all priorities of the 6th EAP seem to remain valid, so one needs also to address prevention and reduction of environmental pollution, or improvement of quality of life and human health. So all these priorities also need to be addressed. And finally, we need to find ways to further engage people, civil society, what you call the users of the environment. And we need both clear objectives and priorities, but also a vision for the long term. I think that's, in a nutshell, what I kind of conclude of this first session. Thank you very much. Thank you to all speakers for this interesting launch of the conference.